Hello, this is just a short video about the motility of the skull bone or the primary respiratory mechanism of the skull bones. So first of all, the occipital bone, the base of the skull, is made from four different parts. The supraoccipital part, around the foramen magnum, the lateral part, and the basilar part. The bastion in French, the basilar part. So the motility of the occipital bone, the supraocciput goes down like this, turn around the foramen magnum, and goes up to the basilar part. Comes back, turn around the foramen magnum, and goes to the supraocciput. Voilà, go down. So when I touch someone, I have the supraocciput, basilar part. This is a perfect movement of the occipital bone. Voilà. Hop, basilar, like this. The parietal bones, motility, this part, the posterior part, goes like this in external rotation. And this part, the anterior part of the parietal bone, comes to me. If I take the motility, it goes, this part comes like that, and this part open. So the good movement of the parietal bone is the posterior part open, and at the same time the anterior part comes to me, goes cephalic. Voilà. This is a good movement, the good motility of the parietal bone. The frontal bone, there is a coronal suture. The frontal bone in flexion goes like this. It goes down, it touches near the crista galli of the ethmoid in the end of the flexion. It goes like this, and at the same time, the coronal suture open. So the frontal bone motility is like this. It goes down and open to the coronal suture, touch the crista galli, and come back. Voilà. This is a good movement, a full movement of the frontal bone. The ethmoid bone, in flexion, this part of the ethmoid, lateral view on the right, the ethmoid goes like this, flexion, like that, and come back, less than this. Flexion, and come back. Flexion, and come back. And the lateral part of the ethmoid, in flexion, goes like this. Voilà. This is the perfect movement of the ethmoid. So, like this, and the lateral part goes like that. The maxillary bone in external rotation or flexion or external rotation open like this. Voilà. This is the perfect movement, the perfect motility of the maxillary bone. The temporal bone are interesting because the temporal bone are made from four different membranes in embryology. So the mastoidean part in flexion or external rotation goes like this. This part goes like this, flexion. The tympanal part of the temporal goes like this, external rotation. The pétreuse part of the rocher in French goes like this, external rotation. And the squamous part of the temporal bone, this one, like a fish, goes like this, open like that. External rotation, and come back. That means the three parts of the temporal bone goes in external rotation like this, and this part goes like that. That's why for the temporal bone motility, we have this movement. External rotation, and come back. External rotation, and come back. Bigger, external rotation, and come back. Voilà. For the motility of the temporal bone. For the zygomatic bone, or the malar bone, this one, they follow the sphenoid bone and the maxillary bone in external rotation. This one, open. External rotation, and come back. Good movement. Zygomatic bone, and they come back. Voilà. And the palatine bone, I only have one palatine bone. This one, in external rotations, goes like this. External rotation and goes like this. Voilà. So the palatine bone, they go like this. And to finish this video, the sphenoid bone, the butterfly bone, the sphenoid bone, the greater wings in external rotations goes like that. They go external rotation, and in the end of the PMR, they open. So if I take the two sphenoid part, they goes external rotation and open, and they come back. External rotation, and in the end, they open. Well, this is a good movement of the sphenoid bone globally. In cranial osteopathy POIE, this innovative method from France, what do we do when we give a session of cranial osteopathy? The first thing that we do is we palpate the skull, we check the global motility of the skull. So we have one end of the occipital bone, on the sphenoid bone, and we listen, we check globally the skull. We do a global palpation of the skull. Then we check the SBS, the suture between the sphenoid and the basilar part of the occipital. So this suture, the SBS, between the basilar part of the occipital and the sphenoid part. So we check this suture and we see if we find some lateral strain and cephalic vertical strain. Then we check the occipital bone. We check the motility, the global motility, so we can find, for example, an occiput block in flexion. The occiput gonna go like that and doesn't come back, or in extension, gonna come, doesn't gonna go in flexion. So I'm gonna write it down. Also, the occipital bone, we're gonna check if there is a posterior part, like this, of the occiput, and a rotation like this. This means cephalic to the right or cephalic to the left, and a posteriorization of the occiput. And we're going to write it down. Then we're going to check the sphenoid bone globally, and we're going to check the motility. The sphenoid bone can go like that, it can go to the left, it can go in flexion, doesn't come back in extension, or it can come in extension and doesn't want to move. So we write it down. What is amazing, and later on, we're going to check each bone of the skull, the motility of each bone. And for example, we're going to find a frontal bone. We check the motility. The frontal bone goes in flexion, doesn't want to come back, so it's blocked in flexion. The palatine bone can block also in flexion. So we check every bone of the skull, mostly the sphenoid and the occipital bone, the strain of the SBS, and we write down what we find. What is amazing with the cranial osteopathy POIE is that we're going to adjust the entire skull from the sacrum bone. This is one of the important discoveries from Maurice Raymond POIE and André Brunel, famous osteopath in France. This means that the occipital bone, the problematic of adaptation of the occipital bone gonna be restored, adjust from the sacrum. We're gonna find the sacrum bone like this, like that, or posterior also, and we're gonna informationally restore the sacrum bone, and in the same time we're gonna adjust the traumatic adaptation of the occiput and the motility of the occiput. Also, for the sphenoid bone, we're going to check, for example, the sphenoid bone goes like this in flexion, it doesn't come back. We're going to work on the sacrum with different axes, and we're going to restore with an informational thrust on the sacrum. We're going to work on the sacrum, and we're going to restore the position and the motility to have a good movement of the sphenoid bone. The same for the SBS, the suture between the basilar part of the occiput and the sphenoid. We're going to work on the hiatus on the sacrum, this part of the sacrum. So this is the sacrum from Maurice POIE with the energetic networks. The hiatus is this hole into the sacrum between the sacrum and the coccyx, the tailbone, and we're going to work energetically in the hiatus to restore the strain of the SBS, vertically and horizontally for the horizontal strain and vertical strain. Then to restore the motility of each bone of the skull, the zygomatic, the maxillaire, the ethmoid, the frontal, the palatine, the temporal, we're going to work on different parts of the sacrum. If, for example, the temporal bone, when I listen at the temporal bone, let's say they are blocked in extension, they come like this, both, but they don't want to go in external rotation, they go in internal rotation. It means that on the sacrum, the point we are connected to the temporal bone is this one. Voilà, on S2, S1, S2, S3, S4, the hiatus. On S2, those points are connected to the temporal bone. It means that if the temporal bone are blocked in internal rotation, I'm going to have those 2 points down when I listen to them like that. They go down. So I'm going to, with the informational correction, a digital invitation, this is the method of cranial osteopathy Poyer, or informational osteopathy, I'm going to, with the invitation, on both sides in the same time, I'm going to restore the motility of the entire bone. Voilà, so this is the method of cranial osteopathy Poyer. We can see that we use the sacrum a little bit like a remote control. It means that in this kind of sacrocranial therapy Poyer, we listen first, we check first the entire skull, then we adjust the entire skull from the sacrum. This is the method of cranial osteopathy Poyer. During a skull palpation, we can find out that some skull bones are frozen. That means that they have no motility or primary respiratory mechanism at all. Normally, if I take the frontal bone, the good motility, as I said, is flexion, it's come back. This bone, the frontal bone, can be blocked in flexion. It means it's going to go in flexion. It doesn't really want to come back, but there is still a movement. It goes in flexion. Or it goes in extension. It doesn't want to come back. But the bones still have a movement. A frozen zone have no motility at all. It means I'm going to listen at the frontal bone, and I'm going to feel a restriction and a kind of density like that. It's going to be completely restricted. The same for any bone of the skull. For example, the maxillary bone, normally in external rotation, it goes like that and like this. I can feel, for example, the left maxillary have a movement, but the maxillary, the right maxillary, is frozen. It means it doesn't have any motility at all. It's completely restricted. What is important, it's an innovative way of cranial osteopathy called somatopathy. In somatopathy, we study the skull and we find out that each bone of the skull are connected to a specific psycho-emotional problematic. That means that the frozen zone indicates a psycho-emotional problematic. For example, the occipital bone talk about a problematic of separation. For example, in a couple, there is a separation, so the person, the patient, will carry a suffering. The body of the person is going to hold a memory of a separation. The parietal bones, the posterior part, talk about a feeling of abandonment, a problematic of abandonment, hold into the body. The anterior part going to indicate a problematic of death. Maybe the person nearly had an accident, or this person nearly died. So it's a problematic of death. So the parietal anterior bone, for example, going to be frozen. When I'm going to listen at the motility of the parietal, so this part is going to be completely frozen. The same for the frontal bone. The frontal bone talks about a tendency of denial. It can indicate also some secret in the family, some taboo, some kind of occultation, difficulty to talk about the problem and deny. This is the frontal bone problematic. The ethmoid bone indicates a problematic of identity and the way the person feels welcome into his family as a child. The maxilla bone indicates a problematic of abuse. The person haven't been really respected in his own boundaries. It's an abuse. With the father, in connection with the father, it's on the right, or with a mother, maybe a mother which is too possessive, can indicate a frozen zone of the maxilla on the left. The temporal bones talk about the relationship, the connection, the link with the father on the right and with the mother on the left, the relationship, the temporal bone. The zygomatic bone or the malar bone talk about a feeling of injustice, hold into the body, injustice. And the palatine bone indicate a problematic of guiltiness in the body. So as we see, the bone of the skull have a movement of motility, but also they can be frozen. It's a kind of density of the skull, and those frozen parts of the bone gonna indicate a psycho-emotional stress, a kind of suffering, can indicate a fear. So in somatopathy, we're gonna release those frozen zones on the feet. This is the major discoveries in somatopathy. The frozen zone of the skull gonna be released. This means the motility gonna be released on the feet. Each bone of the feet is connected to one specific bone of the skull. For example, the calcaneum bone of the feet, the calcaneum, are connected to the occipital bone. The cuboid bone are connected outside. The cuboid bone are connected to the outside, the temporal bone. The second cuneiform on the feet are connected to the frontal bone. The third cuneiform are connected to the maxillary bone. So this is somatopathy. We're going to have an informational invitation and release on a specific bone of the feet, and like that we're going to release the body from a kind of stress hold into the structure and the skull. What is interesting also in somatopathy is when we're going to release a bone, for example the frontal bone, from a frozen zone, we're going to have an action on the feet. During 2 seconds, we're going to release the frozen zone, the frozen density of the frontal bone. The frontal bone is going to have again a movement. It's going to be in flexion or in extension. And then we're going to check on the suture. After a frozen zone, we check one suture. So for the frontal bone, we're going to check the coronal suture. We're going to check the suture with the great wings between the sphenoid and the frontal. We're going to check the suture with the ethmoid. We're going to check the suture with the maxillary bone also. There is a suture between the frontal and the maxillary bone, between the frontal and the zygomatic bone also. We're going to check, once we release a frozen zone, we're going to check one by one the different suture. And if we find a suture, for example the coronal suture, we're going to check, we're going to palpate this suture, and for example we're going to feel a kind of problematic, for example like this, or compression. We're going to work also on the suture to release the suture of the skull. We're going to work also on the feet. Some articulation or joint on the feet are connected as well on the skull. What is interesting also in somatopathy is we have a symbolic, we have an indication, an interpretation of each suture of the skull. For example, the coronal suture, the articulation between the frontal and the parietal bone, indicate a problematic around death. It means that either someone in the family of the patient is sick in the present time. If someone has a coronal suture, it means that the person worry for someone, maybe it's the father or the mother is really sick in the present time, that can stress and compress this suture, or this coronal suture can indicate also that the person witness the death of someone. For example, let's say I was very close to my mother, and my mother was very sick, let's say for 1 month, and she died, but I was with her during 1 month with the doctors to go to the hospital, so I witnessed her death. That can create, of course, a stress and a problematic about death, so the parietal anterior can be frozen about death, but also that can compress and create a suture problematic. So if it's a mother, the left coronal suture connected to the mother gonna present some restriction and problematic. So in somatopathy, we're gonna learn to unfreeze, to open those density called frozen zone, and we're gonna work on the suture to really completely release the bone, for example, the sagittal bone, the lambdoid bone with the occipital. The lambdoid bone talks about a feeling of betrayal. Let's say, for example, my wife, I've been with another man, for example, I feel betrayed. So my skull can present a problematic of lambdoid. So each sutures of the skull indicate a problematic of somatization all into the body. And what we do in sopantomathy, we're going to completely release the skull to have a good motility, a global motility of the skull between the sphenoid, the base of the skull, and the sphenoid and all the bone. And that's going to help to release the bone from traumatic problem, of adaptative problem, as well as some psycho-emotional problematic hold into the body. This is what we call the informational somatopathy. I hope that you did enjoy this short video about the skull motility, and if you want to have more information about the training that I offer of informational osteopathy, POIE and somatopathy, please feel free to contact me through my website. Thank you, bye bye.